From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Well, let's dominate.
It's a quiet night at the Fisher household. I have nothing else to do. I wish I had some dominating with Dawson that I could do with Ben Dawson.
Boom! Guess what? You got it. It's not so quiet in there now, is it?
You're like a genie without the outfit, thankfully.
Without all the one-liners.
That's true. But, if you want to see Ben Dawson dressed up as a genie, go to the Garage Heroes in Training OnlyFans page and, pay the price. Maybe we'll get it done.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I would do farts in a jar, dressed like a genie, whatever it takes to fully fund this effort.
We do it for our listeners,
Totally, absolutely. Yes.
Indeed. Well, I think if anybody's still here, we might as well start talking about racing again. But
Great. Or farts in a jar. Yeah.
Thank you for making it through our little witty banter. So
what are we dominating tonight?
We're going to talk about mental usage when you're on track, and in terms of when you're first starting, you're like totally overwhelmed, your brain's flying. All these things are coming at you. Cars are seemingly all around you, especially in an endurance race. Cars are everywhere. Oh, yeah. Everybody's flying. Everybody's dive bombing you. And then eventually you start to settle down, whatever, and things become a little bit more natural, a little bit more habit, a little bit more reflex, a little bit less brain. Right. And one thing I did notice. This is the longest intro to Dominating with Dawson ever. One thing I did notice is early on in my career as an instructor, I noticed that when I was driving, if I were to try and drive even at like 8/10 of my, full out, I would screw up just because my brain was doing something else and I was distracted and everything wasn't fluent, and I probably wasn't even good at talking while driving because I never did it before. I was thinking, how do you explain to somebody who's maybe they're in the initial few trips to the track and their brain is just like, what? How do you say like the stages of this? That's probably the worst question I've ever asked you, but try to make a good answer for me.
Well, it's true. I mean, this is it's sometimes it's easy to lose sight of the fact that what we were doing out there is so overwhelming because it's so fully
immersive,
life and death. I mean, it's fully too. It's fully something that if you mess it up, you can really hurt yourself, hurt other people. So it's a pretty serious undertaking, along with all the other BS that happens at the track. It's a go, no go, thing you can end up getting airlifted out of if you make a mistake or you just have any kind of lap. So I think everybody who has any kind of head on their shoulders takes it seriously enough, and that can really just wears you out. I mean, I remember coming home from my second or third track day or something like that on the Saturday and going back for the Sunday, but like ordering pizza or something like that. So I did something like ordered some food at the hotel room or something like that. And I couldn't even, I fell asleep before it even got there. I just was completely out. Yep. And didn't even wake up worried about why I didn't eat dinner. I was just so tired. I just dozed off completely and didn't even wake up till the next day. So I think it is so mentally consuming. There's some physicality to it too, but I think most of the fatigue that people feel after their first few track events is largely a mental drain. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's it's not something that you can prepare for either.
Right. So yeah, there's nothing that's going to prepare you for it. It's a pretty dangerous, weighty pursuit that wears you out. But the more and more practiced you become, the more your mental focus can shift from survival and what they call lizard brain thinking, where it's just, I'm just trying to do what it's going to take to keep Bill alive or whatever. And you can start shifting your thinking a little bit more to, oh, that felt good going through that corner. How can I optimize what I'm doing through there? What worked? You start getting more analytical about what you're doing, and more of the safety immediacy kind of falls away as you become more and more competent with understanding the rules of the road, understanding everybody else's behavior, understanding your expectations of you. And part of the mental drain of being at the track the first few times is like, oh shit, did they just call my class? Like, part of it is worried about being at the right place at the right time, almost as much as it is about, like, not screwing up and driving your car into the wall or something.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of understanding the group you're with, understanding what time you're supposed to be somewhere, stressing about, did I leave that poker chip I was supposed to hand to the person at the grid to show them that I went to classroom? Did I leave that, sitting on my trailer? Is it, oh crap, I'm already belted in, it's in my pocket and I can't read? You know what I mean? There's just a million things that can stress you out.
The little stuff. The little,
like the car breaking, car not doing what it's supposed to do. I've never heard that noise before. What is this? But,
where's my glove?
So many ways to screw yourself up. But as more and more things become routine and you're used to them at the track, on and off the track, you start to develop more brain autonomy, where it's like, all right, I know how to get around here. So, my brain is going to help me remember to brake at the 3. We got that down. I don't have to like develop extreme, devote extreme focus to remember where to brake every lap. So I can start thinking about maybe try to roll out of the throttle a little bit early, maybe try braking a little deeper. You know what I mean? You start thinking about analytical things, and then you sort of go through that phase, and then you start thinking about, how can I push harder? How can I go a little deeper? How can I drive a little faster? And ultimately, once you've been doing this stuff for a long time, and you turn into somebody who's been racing or been driving for a long time, you really fall into a mode of where the blocking and tackling, the shifting, the braking, the accelerating, the turning is mostly done with what you call muscle memory. Like, your body's doing most of that stuff for you without you having to devote a lot of thought to it, unless you're unless you're specifically trying to improve a certain section, or you're trying to do something else. But you can kind of hit a plateau and just sort of do cycle driving, where you just kind of you're just kind of driving the same cycle over and over again. And this phase can be especially useful if you're a racer. Develop this core competency to driving, and then if you're a racer, you can devote your brain power and your bandwidth to, you're rolling up on a gaggle of cars that you have to work your way through. How am I going to work my way through here? Starting to do analytical thinking about, well, I see this car doing this well in this corner. As you're coming up to them, you probably usually have a few laps to sort of evaluate the group you're about to roll up through, if you're working your way up through traffic. You know what I mean? Which was something we all aspire to be doing. Like, okay, which one of these goobers is going to be the slowest through this corner? Who do I need to pounce on to kind of get there, get this process started? So that's these are things that your brain can be devoted to once you've got the mechanics of it down. Does that make sense?
It does. And one thing before I go back to answering this thing, one thing that's fun about our podcast, even though nobody gets to see it besides us, is sometimes we ask such fundamental, rudimentary aspects of racing on purpose. And the look on your face is like, dude, I don't know. I just do it. And but you play our silly game and you actually have to think about it. It's like,
well, when you said that, I thought the immediate joke was going to be, well, obviously Ben Dawson's not ever thinking about a single thing ever, much less on the track.
Not consciously, which right. is probably one of the reasons why you're as fast as you are. Because we had a gentleman who I went through HPDE with, and he's actually a neurological surgeon or something.
I got one of those. I got one of those that's local to me. Matt Ehrlich, how you doing, buddy?
Right. And he started talking during one of our debriefs, and it's basically, if it's conscious thought, it runs at, let's say, X speed, right? Okay. And if it's subconscious thought, it's actually 10X. roughly.
Wow.
So the more you can convert to subconscious, reflexive or just subconscious habit,
Yeah.
not only do you get more bandwidth available for racecraft and looking at other people and everything else that you need to do, the the more the more quickly you're able to process it and do things.
Yeah. That's
So
reassuring to hear.
yeah, I mean, it's better than doing it dumbly, right? Um, but we could, boy, I could get into chess right now, but I'm having a hell of a week. But anyway, late to chess podcast, hopefully available soon. Um, Apple's killing me. Sorry, digression. There we go. Went off to skewed off. Uh, I think the thing that made it become very clear to me that I was at the same time happy and a little surprised when I started talking, started to give instruction when I was coming up to a turn that I've done at least hundreds, maybe borderline thousands of times. It's one of our local
Hmm.
tracks. And I've done it a whole lot faster in that particular car many, many times. But when I was talking, boy, did I booger up that turn. It was nasty. It was one of those like,
Yeah.
oof, I don't want to ever do one of those again. And I wasn't even going that fast. And it just
Right.
the distraction of changing to be talking and thinking about something else consciously as opposed to just focused and you know doing my normal. It was an HPD. It
Right.
was and it was just like, oh my God, I screwed that turn up. What was that? Who did that? I want to know who grabbed my wheel and my feet because they need to stop touching me while I'm driving.
Well, especially given the context that you just gave about how subconscious operates about 10 times faster than your frontal brain, describing, kind of thinking it makes sense that, going through doing something you've done plenty of times competently and then suddenly having to describe it as you're doing it, just completely throws your rhythm off. So it's probably
Yep.
going to throw your body rhythm off as well as you're trying to describe it. Like, oh, I'm going to turn in here. Then you're doing it. Everything's going to be a tick off or more than what you just do if you're just letting your body do it. Right.
Yeah, man. Especially, not that this was the point of this episode, especially for your new instructors, just be aware that if you are driving and you are talking, you're not as good a driver as you think you were without talking, but that's part of being an
I,
instructor.
I think usually when I'm doing that, I usually just end up I kind of keep my rhythm by making fun of myself or kind of just joking along with the student as
Hmm.
I'm trying to drive and talk. So it's probably a little bit different cadence for me.
Yeah.
But as I try to think about it,
You were not
most of
going
the
to set a
time,
personal best when you're instructing, though, for multiple reasons, this being one of them.
a lot of the time when I'm giving somebody a ride, usually it's in a frenzy of like, oh yeah, you want to take a ride right now? Yeah, just jump in, grab a helmet. A lot of times that ends up being done without a proper communicator or proper communication system. So sometimes I just get in there and before we go, I'll say, hey, watch this, watch how I do this, watch how I do this. Especially if it's somebody I've been in the car with and seen what
Hmm.
they're struggling with. Be like, all right. Pay attention to how I'm doing this, how I'm doing this, how I'm doing this, and I might just take them out and just blast around. And then we get back out when we stop. I'll say, "Hey, what did you think about this?" And a lot of times it's like, wow, Mr. Dawson, I can't believe how amazing you are. You're such a smart person and a great communicator and an even better race car driver. Um, I'm just kidding. Nobody ever says that to me. But so some of the times I don't even try or bother to try to explain things contemporaneously with my driving. Sometimes I'm just going to be pointing a few things out to pay attention to before we get in the car, and then letting the person just absorb the experience, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah. I just, it was a surprise to me how poorly, in quotes, I drove while speaking. And it was
Yeah.
also pleasing in that apparently I have digested enough of this sport to be, you know, fluent without speaking, and that a lot of it's gone subconscious, and that's one of the things you're going to have to do. So if you're in the beginning and you're overwhelmed or just give yourself some grace, give yourself some time. It'll get better. And when you're more mature in your racing driving career on track, uh, be careful that you don't make subconscious bad decisions subconscious and work to make sure that what is natural is best. And if you're trying to change something, you're going to have to pull things out of your subconscious, bring them to conscious, and then focus on them.
I agree.
All right. Did we knock that one around a little bit?
Yeah, and I think it's definitely more thought provoking than most of the things I ever think about being on track. So it's always good to kind of drag me out of my cave and make me talk about stuff that I don't usually think about.
Something makes me think that we missed something, Ben.
Well, we're fortunate to have plenty of good listeners who like to interact with us. And if you got something else that you want to say about the mental struggles of becoming better and better at driving and processing what's happening on the track, tell us some of your experiences or tell us what we're missing. Love to hear about it.
What did we miss? What worked for you? Everything about it. What color socks you're wearing? We don't care. We'll take any listener feedback. You never
Absolutely.
know. We're like overdue for a Tyler. We haven't had Tyler in a while. Codename Tyler, sorry. So we'll get back to
it. Tyler, hit us up.
That's right. Or codename whatever your name is. I mean, whatever I make up your name to be. So anyway.
Alleged Tyler Aaron.
That's right. Alleged. Legend or alleged? Both are applicable.
Both.
Exactly.
Fantastic pilot and racer, allegedly.
That's right. Indeed. All right, sir. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. That was a fun exercise to think through.
Don't think about it when you hang up, though. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Well, let's dominate.